So Montel Williams is leading the charge.
Yeah.
I have not seen Montel this angry in a long time, and it's all because of President Trump and the announced ban of transgender soldiers.
Very controversial ban of transgender soldiers.
Yes, and Montel Williams has a number of bones to pick with the president and this policy because he says this whole excuse about it's too expensive, which is basically what President Trump hung it on. He says that is complete BS, and there are numbers to back it up because, we'll listen to what Montel said, and then we'll get into this.
What gives this president or anybody the right to say who has a right to bleed to defend our democracy?
Right.
He's saying that we're doing this because we want to save on the medical expense? Excuse me. I don't know if people know this. Harvey, do you know this? That the U.S. military spends, and I'm not knocking this, they spend $98 million to make sure soldiers get an erection. An ED drug is really a choice, okay? Living inside of a body, it's not yours. How dare we?
Wow.
The amount of emotion that poured out of Montel in this.
And we should say, coming from a veteran of our armed forces.
Yes, a Navy veteran.
A Navy veteran, absolutely.
He is extremely upset. Now, I did not know that number, and I don't.
The erectile dysfunction number?
Yeah, the erectile dysfunction number.
Yeah, it was one of the big statistics that was being, pointed out yesterday by people who were looking at the reasoning that President Trump gave when he mentioned the financial aspect of it, and they called into question that. And, he also mentioned that the disruption that he says transgender troops would cause in the military is an issue, which Montel talked about as well, that that's sometimes a coded way of, getting out a bigoted point of view.
So this $98 million on erectile dysfunction. Now, we haven't been able to confirm that number, but if it's anything close to that, you kind of see his point. I mean, I hear what he's saying that. But by the way, he also said, and we had to shorten it a little bit there. You can see the full thing on the website.
Not going to take away from the needs of the soldiers.
Right. He did say, he said, look, I understand that there are soldiers who do need that, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't have it. But his point is,
when you're going to stack
don't say that
up against what it would feel like for a human being to serve their country in the most honorable way, it doesn't seem like money should be an issue if you're spending money on stuff like that.
Yeah, Montel so fired up. And honestly, I watched the clip and I thought that he wants to have a show right now. He's not the only one, by the way. We also got Wanda Sykes, who is usually pretty lighthearted and always has something funny to say. When we asked Wanda about this, she wasn't really laughing.
I was wondering what your thoughts were on that. I'm just sick of him. I really am just sick of him. So every day is something with this jackass. And I think our trans brothers and sisters who are in the military, they're braver and bolder than he is. So if anybody's disruptive, it's him. He's the problem.
What do we do?
Give me Michelle Obama there.
Michelle Obama.
I'll take any of the Obama.
In 2020.
I'll take Sasha and Malia.
All right, she did get in a joke at the end. But clearly, I mean, look.
People are fired up. Listen.
Are very upset. And by the way, there are reported about 15,000, reportedly 15,000 troops who are transgender, who are serving right now.
Have to be discharged. The idea that you would exclude any able-bodied American that wanted to defend their country from doing so is rubbing a lot of people out there the wrong way.
Hey, my name is Marco. I am in New York City. Denying any American the ability to fight for their country is the most unpatriotic thing that a president could do. Montel Williams brings up some very valid points. It seems that erectile dysfunction drugs are more important than a person's ability to fight for their country, and that is a right of us as Americans. If you start taking away those rights, what's next?
Yeah, that's the sentiment a lot of people are echoing.
Yeah.
Make sure to subscribe to TMZ Live to keep up to date on the latest entertainment news.
And if you want to keep watching, click on one of these videos right now.